Good evening. It's me, Room 101, on Vampire Watch. Mwahaha. Actually, I want to talk about something a little bit more serious, a little bit more intricate, and truly a little bit more debatable. Not trying to offend anyone, especially my natural allies on the right, but there is something that I have a definite problem with, and it is on the right. That is the paranoia over Putin and this sense that we have to stop him at the Ukraine. First, why I do not support Ukraine. A, it is in Russia's sphere of influence. It's right on the border. It used to be part of the former USSR. It used to be part of Tsarist Russia before that. It has Ukraine and Russia has a history that goes back since before the U.S. was founded, before the Revolutionary War. It may go back further than Jamestown. I'd have to look back at my history books to refresh my memory on the date when Russia absorbed Ukraine. So, no. I do not believe that Russia is out of place for what they are doing in Ukraine. Also, the whole events that led to the fall of the pro-Russian government was extremely suspicious. And it stunk of liberals. So I'm not going to support liberals or socialists or communists anywhere on this planet. I support them even less in this country, but I will not turn around and back them in the Ukraine. I will not back them in Germany. I will not back them in Great Britain. Then there is also the fact that this is going to upset a lot of people. Putin is our natural ally. Oh, what the hell did he just say? Let me say it again. Putin is our natural ally. Like that high-tech close-up. Why is... Well, let me bet, before I talk about Syria. Putin, Soviet intelligence, warned us of the Chechens and the Boston bombers. They warned us that they disappeared into Chechnya. The Russians have been fighting radical Islam on their southern border. Chechnya is close to the southern border. They would not grant it independence, and they've been fighting a radical Islamic element within Chechnya for 15 years now, I believe. Russia is fighting through proxy war with Syria, radical Islam in Syria, because Russia learned the hard way that they would rather fight a proxy war outside of their borders rather than in their borders. So yes, Russia is supporting Syria because Syria is, even though it's a Muslim government, it's more of a secular government than a radical Islamic government. And if you look at ISIS, ISIS is a collection. It's like a foreign legion of radical Muslims. One of their recent theater-wide leaders, he's a Chechen. We have to admit the greatest threat to this planet is radical Islam. I've heard numbers as high as 50% of all Muslims support it and as low as 10%. Generally, it's accepted as about 25% of all Muslims on the planet support radical Islam. Sharia, the literal interpretation of Islam was Sharia law, which many of us on the West refer to as radical Islam. That means 120 million to 300 million. If you 120 million on the low side, 600 million on the high side, but generally accepted as 300 million supporters of radical Islamic sentiment. That 300 million fanatics, even 120 million fanatics, is a dangerous number. And we have to admit that. We have to deal with that. It's something that Obama doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to deal with any real problem. My apologies. Putin is our natural ally in the war against radical Islam. China is also another natural ally in the war against radical Islam, because China has their own problems with the Uyghurs. Europe should be our natural ally, but it seems to me like they're just completely caving in under the argument of diversity and acceptance and all the other PC liberal garbage that pretty much has control in Europe. So Europe has to fight their own battle. They have to almost fight a civil war. We're not far behind Europe now. But Europe almost has to fight a civil war before they will be able to gain control of their own lives and be a true ally to the United States again. Now, I know what you're saying, but no. Israel is our natural ally. No, Israel is our best friend. Israel has been fighting this proxy war in the Middle East where we have one definite, for sure, ally, no matter what, through thick and thin. Like the old joke, a friend will come and bail you out of jail, but a best friend will be in jail with you, saying, that was great. Israel is our friend that's in jail with us. Russia and China are those friends that would bail us out. If we can develop that friendship, if we can face that fact and develop that friendship. I'm not saying that they are best friends. They won't be in jail with us. I'm not saying that we can trust them completely. But when you look at everything that's going on with all of these Arabs across the world protesting Israel defending itself, I trust Russia and I trust China a hell of a lot more than I trust France, Great Britain, Germany, Sweden, Canada. These countries all have Islamic problems. So, yes. Think about it, people. It's the old guard in the GOP that just can't get past the fact that things change. And we need to face the fact that, yes, Putin does want power. He does want to restore the borders of old. No, it won't be able to happen, but there is one constant about Putin and everything that he's done. He has shown that he will risk war. He will put Russian soldiers out there to protect ethnic Russians. You can look at the disbursement of Russian troops, and it has been proven so. If ethnic Russians want to be part of Russia, or if they are at risk, he will take care of them. I truly doubt he has any desires or hopes on the the Baltic republics, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. But yeah, I have no doubt he has hopes of on Ukraine, because Ukraine has so many Russians living within it, and also it connects to Belarus, which also has Russians. And besides, to be perfectly honest, I would give Russia the Ukraine on a silver platter if that would mean that we could send all of these liberal traitors in the U.S. to a Siberian gulag. I would enjoy it. I would have no problem with that. But the old guard Republicans need to realize things change. Just because it was one way for 40 years doesn't mean if that's that way today. In case all of you on the right, they're living in the past, didn't catch the news 20 years ago, Reagan won the Cold War. Let me repeat that. Reagan won the Cold War. Cold War is over. A resurgent Russia is not the threat. Yes, they have a popular leader, which after two unpopular leaders, Gorbachev and Yeltsin, is much better for Russia. And I apologize to some of you that I respect immensely on the right, who somehow or another is caught up in that humanitarian crap and actually believes that Russia is in the wrong in the proxy war in Syria, and that Russia is in the wrong with what's going on with Ukraine. The only thing that Russia did wrong was not to push the former leader of the Ukraine, the pro-Russian leader, I can't remember his name, my apologies, when they were protesting in Kiev. I would have kicked out all of the press. I would have shut down all of the internet. And I would have flat out brought in machine gunners and wiped out everyone in that square. Because I have no patience for liberals. I have no patience for those elitist snobs that think they know what is best. I don't care. We face the greatest threat the world has ever known. And what do? We hope that by hugging these people and showing them love, they will admit that they are wrong. And they will embrace the modern world, even though they want to drag the entire world back to the Middle Ages. ISIS just announced that all females 11 to 46 have to get circumcised. Female genital mutilation. Boko Haram kidnapped 200-300 school-age girls. You really expect me to believe these people can be negotiated with? That these people can be converted by showing them love and respecting their beliefs? I got a hell of a way of converting them. I call it 9mm conversion. Because you put a hole right there. It converts them into a quiet little non-threat very quickly. Just remember, the reason why the Russian KGB and Spetsnaz didn't have to deal with terrorism against their people in the international arena was because when they reacted without mercy. Like the mafia always believed. You may not love me, you may not like me, but you will respect me because you will fear me. And that does work because it is in line with human nature. I don't care if all of these countries overseas loves the U.S., is friends with the U.S., or if they even appreciate what the U.S. has done for the world. But they will respect us Because if they do not, we will obliterate them. Because we can obliterate any country on the planet. A little bit off subject, a little bit long. My apologies. And my break is over. So much love to all of you on the right.